Hi, how's it going? You know, I don't very often do anniversary videos or celebrations outside of the fact that I did a 10-year anniversary one earlier this year. I've been doing this channel for 10 years. How crazy is that? Not for most of y'all. Most of y'all will be like, I've been here for like 6 minutes. What are you talking about? So, I decided to prompt on YouTube and in that community tab that no one ever responds to, on my Instagram stories, because I have an Instagram account that I post to quite frequently, at least story-wise. If you ever want to ever want to know every single movie I'm basically trying to watch, it'll be on my Instagram, or my letterboxd. And on Facebook as well, I posted, hey, I'm about to hit 2,500 subscribers. It's a kind of a milestone. I tried doing this like a year and a bit ago for the 1,500 subscribers, and I got two questions. One of them was from my mate Guy asking me when I'm going to finish The Shield, and then I finished watching The Shield because he asked the question and I never made the video. So one of these questions is from that original post, like a year and a half ago. This is just a variety of questions from people, friends, subscribers, and whatnot, and I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability. Some of these, I might be in different clothing, I might be in a different camera angle, I might be trying to do something artistic with how I film this, because let's be honest, I can do that, but also, there's a lot of questions that are much heavier hitting than I expected, and I haven't had a lot of time, because I've been so busy with everything else currently, to actually work on this video. So I'm currently, as of filming, 2,524 subscribers in. So within a week, I got about 30 subscribers, which is annoying because now I have to do this video quicker, but also, is anyone really excited for it? I don't think so. So let's take a look at some of these questions. Which one do I want to answer first? Some of these I might jump back to in post. I might come back to them and just add more stuff. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so my original question a year and a half ago, which prompted Tory_99 to ask, do you ever get the feeling of FOMO from buying certain films, or have you been able to learn to wait it out for better deals? Now, this is a good question when it comes to physical media, because most people have FOMO stuff, especially this year. I've seen it go absolutely haywire. Arrow videos, Blu-rays, and 4Ks, they're limited edition sets, people have gone nuts for. Obviously, the Dollars trilogy, you have Dark City as well. There are quite a handful of them that people have just gone crazy for. And as someone who isn't as, financially burdened as a lot of people, because I don't own a house, I still live with family, I don't have a lot of things to commit a lot of money to, except for the past couple of months I've been realizing that is hitting more impossible than I realized, because I've had car issues and I'm saving to go to Japan, stuff like that, that I've had to be very specific about what I buy. So in terms of FOMO, it's like, there are some things I will just drop money without a second's thought. Sometimes I'll put in some research for it, like Grindhouse releasing's 4K of The Beyond. Outrun DVD had a copy of it. They had a couple, and I was like, I'm going to buy that. It's like $100. I'm going to buy it because it's a US exclusive. You can't get it outside the US and Canada. I can't get it directly from the website, so I'm going to buy it from these guys because it's cheaper to get it from here than it is from anywhere else. I enjoy the film. I love any Fulci film on 4K. There's a lot of reason to get it above the version I had, which was the Shameless 2K restoration, so I was like, I'll take anything that's better than that, and this is a wonderful looking set. So there are times like that where I'll look at a film and think realistically, like, I want to get that, and maybe I want to treat myself. I haven't been buying much. Let's just buy one or two things and buy that and be like, hey, that's pretty cool. That's great. I love that. That's wonderful. But if you're constantly buying physical media and you have to be really particular, then sometimes you just got to be really particular. For some degree, I would say, try to wait out as long as you can. Hope that there's a standard version of a limited edition set. Like, again, when I looked at the Dollars trilogy, I'm like, I'd like to get them, but the only way to get them currently is from Outrun, and they were $75 each, and I'm like, I don't need that. Like, I've got the films already on Blu-ray. I haven't watched the first two. I have now. I have since rectified that, and I'm like, these Blu-rays actually look pretty good. But I'm going to wait for a standard edition from Arrow, and that's what I'm going to do. If it's a film you've never seen before, it's a film you don't have, that you have no easy access to it, whether in your country or online through streaming or whatnot, then sometimes you just drop the money and hope for the best. Like something like Radiance is a brand that I would like to support, but I've only bought a couple of their releases because I just don't have the time to watch all these films that I've never heard of. You know, people will go like, these are the best releases on physical media, that's the best boutique brand, and I'm like, I'm sure. Like, if you say so, I'll buy it, because the thing is, I don't have the time to watch films like these that I've never fucking heard of before, even though I've heard great things about them. And I've got some of their sets, and some of their sets are absolutely incredible, but I just haven't had a lot of time to dive into their stuff yet. And I just kind of got to live with that, you know? Like, I've got local boutiques I'm trying to support as well, Umbrella and Imprint. There's so many things to look at, and even there could be alternate standard versions in my own country versus international versions of releases that I'd be like, oh, that's a better release in that country, but it's a lot more expensive than the release I'm getting in my country, but my country is one that sucks in contrast. So even if it's cheaper, I don't know. So FOMO is definitely a thing. But yeah, or I just go on, if I'm on Amazon, for example, and I just have things in my cart, and I'll just let it sit there, and if the prices skyrocket, the prices skyrocket, and I just give up and move on. And if they don't, if they drop incredibly, I'll be like, hey, thank God I waited, let's buy it. From Facebook, John Harrison asks, what is your shoe size? What shoe size are you? I think I'm 7.5 UK. That's what I wrote down. It's usually 7.5 to 8. Yeah, that's probably not true. I can never remember. It's like my height. I don't know what my height is because I don't care. When you have two brothers and one of them shoots up way past you, you realize height's not important anymore. Because honestly, if your younger brother is 6 foot tall and you're not, give up. So, couldn't care less. Also, my older brother's the same height as me. So I know it's a different question, but like me and my older brother have like the same shoe size. But me and my younger brother do not have the same shoe size. He's longer in every fucking capacity. So I don't have to, you know, he's got bigger feet than me. I can't wear his shoes. Yeah. Anyway. From Bede, we have, what's your controversial physical media take? Oh, okay. Thing is, it's hard to say what's controversial unless I were to like go onto like Reddit or something and get an understanding of what people dislike and everything. Hello, Indy. Can you be quiet? Shh. Shh. Come here. Come here. I'm being harassed by my dogs. You can't even see them. They're off camera. Come up here. Come on, you smelly girl. There you go. See? Look, it's a camera. Sit down. Enjoy yourself. What are your controversial takes, Indigo? She's off camera. What are your controversial takes, Indigo? Not everything needs to be on a UHD disc, but every film or show should have a 4K remaster. She's going off again. For one thing, I feel like not everything needs to be on a UHD disc, but I do think that every film or show needs to have a 4K remaster. Mostly in this case because of film preservation. I don't think everything needs a UHD disc. Not everything needs a Dolby Vision transfer or a HDR10 encode or whatever. It's better if things do. Be quiet, Indy. Some people are talking. But it's just one of those things that for me, I'm like, I care more about film preservation. If everything was a 4K restoration on a Blu-ray that can make the film look all cleaned up and nice without DNR or any AI upscaling or any of that bullshit, just pure, this is what the film print looks like to the best of its ability, you know, maybe a few white dots and specks, whatever. Hopefully no dramatic color changing with like modern color changing and whatever, trajectories, whatever. That's what I'd prefer. Even if there were no UHDs, it was all just the Blu-ray disc. I'd be content with that. Realistically, everything should be a region-free. Oh my god, that's a controversial thing, I feel like. Everyone should have an all-region player. That's one I wouldn't even pin it as controversial. It does my head in every time I see Americans complain that a film isn't region A. Fucking buy a region-free player. I can, and I'm in Australia, a place where we have to deal with every other country. And we have to import for more expensive prices. It's a smarter idea. Just buy a region-free player and then shut the hell up. You don't need a UHD player. You don't need a 4K player. Just buy a region-free player and then you can watch any Blu-ray and any DVD anywhere. It's so much easier, and I don't understand why people don't do it. You know, we have two different types of lists in Australia where you can buy a disc brand called Laser, which apparently they're like $150 now. They used to be $50 like a couple of years ago. Oofed. And that's an all-region player. All-region Blu-ray, all-region DVD. Quality of the player, I wouldn't say is great, but at least it gives you all regions and you don't have to stress. There's another place, at least in Australia and Glen Waverley, called Gaddy Audio, where they will just give you a little plug-in for your device. You can either buy directly from them, or you can buy a player from elsewhere and ship it to them, or just drive it to them, whatever. It's free shipping either way. And they will install it for you, and easy peasy. It's expensive, but the longevity is just perplexing. I have 2 players that are all region from them, and I haven't had a single issue with either of those players, and I've had those players for years. One of them is a UHD player, one of them's a standard Blu-ray player. Because I had to get the Blu-ray one when I started buying Criterions, and I realized, oh, I need an all-region player, and Laser popped up, but I got a brand new Blu-ray instead. Just a brand new Blu-ray player, which is identical to the one I already had. I don't know why I didn't just ship in my old one, but still, I think there was a sale on at the time. It doesn't matter. This was like a decade ago. But just, if America, a place that has so much variety of technology, if people just can't figure out just to find one somewhere in their own country, then that's just on them. You know, it's a consumer issue. If you're going to be that stupid and that, like, ignorant about it, then fucking get over yourselves. I hate seeing people complaining that it's just, there's no Region A version. It's like, get a player that can play all regions. I mean, discs should be all regions anyway. It's stupid that they aren't. But still, licensing and whatever, it's not my forte. Another thing I would say is I think that there are too many boutique labels. And this is mostly from the degree of, as a consumer, trying to navigate which one I should buy, which version of that film I should buy, which brand I should buy, just in general, from like good quality to bad quality to whatever. My constant issue with imprint: is it going to be a good disc? Is it going to be a bad disc? Is it going to be good special features? Is it not going to have any special features at all? The benefit of having so many boutique brands is just the easy capacity of, hey, I don't have to stress about it because I have all these. There's so much variety out there. And to be fair, it's only boutiques who are going above and beyond to find older films and to really give them a great, like, physical release. Wonderful, except for when the releases are over $100 because you get several booklets and extra stuff with it. Like, I don't need the posters and stuff. Booklets, love it. Commentaries and video essays and written essays, love that stuff. Sometimes I just want to buy a basic film, and I feel like more companies like Disney and Universal and Warner and whatnot should just find good releases for their old films. Like, they do the bare bones films where you'll still get a really nice 4K UHD sometimes, but you won't get any special features, or you won't get any new special features. They'll just give you basic legacy stuff or nothing at all. So it's like there's no middle ground, you know, where you either have to spend a lot of money on one film, or, to be fair, nowadays it's still a lot of money on one film that's poorly produced. One that's overproduced and one that's underproduced. It feels like a lot to say, but it's just that factor of just, it feels like there's too much pressure on consumers. I get this all the time. I had that same with the FOMO question, is it's like, there's so much pressure to buy these limited edition releases, even if they're just standard versions, that they're only limited edition because the rights are only for that amount, not because they're going to have a big deluxe set and then they do a little one later, or at the same time, say with Umbrella. It's concerning and annoying, and I don't like that it's such a saturated market. Like, they say it's the golden age of physical media because of just how many films are being produced on the physical and to the quality that they're being produced, which is wonderful. But there is just so much out there that it gets overbearing, and every once in a while I'll see a bunch of friends who, because a lot of my friends buy physical media who love film, some of them work on these releases as well, and I'd be like, I'd love to buy that, but I've spent my money on that other release instead, or I've had to upgrade this film, or I've had to buy this film I've never heard of before, and from like a label I either trust or a label I hardly buy from, you know. I'll hardly buy from Radiance, but I'll buy from Criterion and Arrow Video most of the time, so it's so overwhelming, and I you know, it's such a pro and con thing where I'll say it's annoying that there's a lot of boutique labels, but it's a good thing that there are so many boutique labels, you know? So I don't really know if any of these are controversial, but that's my take. From Marcy on Facebook, we have, is there a holy grail item you're still looking for? In terms of physical media, I kind of say not really. Most of the time, when I want something physical media, I will usually buy it. You know, I'll find a way. Like, I'm very particular, but the thing is, right now, because for the past couple of months I've really been holding off of buying things unless they're like of immediate availability. Most of the time I've just kind of been avoiding deep diving into something to hope that I can find something that happens to be an absolute rarity, because I don't find a lot of interest in spending over $100 or $150 for an out-of-print film unless there's some real reason to buy it. The only change in that for the past year has been basically a lot of the releases that Lee had worked on, because after he passed, I was obviously collecting every single film that he worked on, to whatever capacity, written essay, audio commentary, even just generic producing. And so, to some capacity, I don't have much of a incline to look for anything else now, because that was the expensive stuff. Like, that was the, hey, I found a copy of this, it's really expensive on eBay, I have to buy it from like secondhand from America and hope that it comes in good nick. And usually that's just a Kino Lorber release that came out a couple of years ago that happens to be out of print. So outside of that, there's nothing I'm really looking for. If it's more or less if I stumble upon something really interesting, I'm like, oh, I really want that. Oh, that's the best way to get it. Oh, that's the only way I can get it, and there's my availability right there. Like, if I go to Play Music DVD and they happen to have a really good film that I really want that's out of print, sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and go for it. However, as I consider books to be media, because they are, physical media-wise, there actually is two things I am actually looking for that aren't DVDs, which is the two more books that Lee wrote, which is his book on The Howling, which I have two watch lists on my eBay, which are $200 to $250, which sucks. And then the one that I haven't found anywhere is his book on the scarecrows. I'm going to have an image there because I always forget what it's actually called. That one is a compilation one. It's like a bunch of other people's essays and he's edited it together with like two of his own contributions or something. But it's just that aspect of, obviously I've been looking for them for a while and I've really gotten nowhere with trying to be able to buy them. Like the Howling book, I kind of gave up on the idea that I'd be able to get it for a good price. And maybe if I happen to have nothing to pay for, like I don't have any repairs to pay for, I don't have any trip stuff, I don't have anything in general to pay for like a week or two, I'll be like, hey, I'm going to use this pay week to buy this on eBay and treat myself. But until that point, those are the last two things that I'm really, really looking for as holy grail items. But yeah, because I think after I stopped collecting steelbooks, I stopped with the kind of consideration that I needed a holy grail item. That this is the one thing I've always wanted. It's like, it's just something to buy. Like at least Lee's books in particular, have that value to them because I've been friends with Lee. They're films I'm interested in, they're books that I'm interested in, and also their books, they contribute a lot more than just a fancy version of a film. From John Harrison, we have, what are your current top 5 Desert Island Blu-ray releases in your collection? I did a video on this a couple years ago with a really fun thumbnail that I put a lot of effort into for a video that I don't think anyone really watched, so top quality stuff there. And I'm pretty sure some of these will be different to that. This one I've just thrown out 5 that I really absolutely love. Now, in terms of Desert Island, I'm just going to take into the basic concept of there are no more films ever. You can't buy any Blu-rays. Blu-rays don't exist anymore. You've only got 5 films that you'll ever be able to watch. Not like you're actually on a desert island, because if you're on a desert island, you won't be able to watch any movies. You know, where does the power come from? How do you deal with the glare? Do you only watch movies at night when it's probably freezing? And I don't know, what about local wildlife? Where's your TV come from? So many questions. Do you have a Dolby Atmos setup in the middle of the desert? And now, considering how we live in Australia, at least I do and you do, John, and this is an island, and a lot of it is a desert, technically I could say anything and it will always apply. So on that notion of what's it like being in Australia and if you could only have 5 Blu-rays, it would be Alien on 4K. Tremendous. Love it. My favorite horror film. I'm thinking of another one at the same time that I would also watch, but I just have always adored this film. I can't say the other one now. I've got to move on to the next film. I wanted to do one per genre to a degree. So that's my horror film. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This one I'm going for action? Sure. I've got a 4K of that. Love it. My favorite Edgar Wright film. Comfort film. Watch it probably once or twice a year. I've loved it since I found it on TV back in like 2013. Maybe 2012, but still. Blade Runner 2049. It is my favorite film after all. Wonderful film. Beautiful 4K. Love the music. Love just how depressing it is. It's an absolute treasure to watch. Only issue is obviously the fact that the soundtrack is loud, and also it's a very long film. And as someone who would love to watch it more frequently, having people in the room next door to you trying to watch their own movie and then being like, Julian, can you turn the fucking sound down? Hans Zimmer's soundtrack is really fucking loud. And I agree, but that's just how it is sometimes. So I only watch that film when I really, really, really need it. Airplane, because it's funny. It's a funny movie. It's one of the funniest movies out there, if not the funniest movie. It's constantly quotable. My mum had it on the other day. It was on Foxtel and she was watching it. And she was laughing so much. And she's seen it before. She hasn't seen it for a while, because unlike me, she doesn't watch that film almost every year. And that's the thing, it's endlessly rewatchable and endlessly hilarious. And she just found it so funny. It got to the point where they were at the credits, they were going to change the program to watch something else. I'm like, no, you have to wait. You have to wait for the final joke. And it was worth it. So, and then lastly, we've got Gremlins: The New Batch. I don't know, I just wanted to chuck that one in there. I would have gone with The Thing. The Thing is like usually my other one, but I'm like, we've already got an Alien, that's a horror, even though most of these are sci-fi anyway to some degree. Action comedy with Scott Pilgrim, science fiction with Blade Runner, Airplane's a comedy. Gremlin, it's a monster movie, but it's a critique of capitalism, which is probably the reason we're on a desert island to begin with. Gremlins 2, better than the first one. Much funnier, much more interesting. All the gremlins look insanely good in contrast to the first one. They're all not the same design except for Stripe. They're actually all different. They've evolved. There's more of them. Gizmo is so fun in it. It has a gremlin that turns into a fucking spider. One turns into a bat and becomes a gargoyle. Dick Miller's still there even though he died in the first one. It's great. I love it. You can't go wrong. It's got a great cast. Jonathan Glover is fantastic. You get that one female gremlin. Why is there just one? I don't know. But she's great. The guy who plays this Dr. Hologram in Star Trek Star Trek Voyager is also Robert Picardo. He's in it as well. So many great character actors. It's a fucking banger. From Dingo Boy 2 on Instagram, we have what films need to be on physical media. Barbarian, the obvious choice. I know there's been a lot of discussion recently with the director that even he hates that it was never put onto physical, mostly a licensing thing, and he just didn't have it written up in his contract because he wasn't a big filmmaker at the time of Barbarian, the film that made him. as a known person now, again, weapons, needs a physical. Should be on physical. There are so many films that need to be on physical, and none of it ever comes to mind. The Stepford Wives, the original. I've never seen it. I don't want to have to stream a shitty version on Tubi. For the love of God. Like, I can buy the remake on DVD from JB Hi-Fi. Why can't I buy the original? Why is it so hard? From Nadine Whitney, we have, what are some films without a physical media release you'd like to see? I've had two different people ask me this question, so I've gone for some TV shows instead for this. We have Angie Tribeca. Only had one season come out on physical, and that was the first season on DVD. Angie Tribeca is fantastic. If you like The Naked Gun, if you like Police Squad, which is The Naked Gun but better, it's a modern day equivalent. It is absolutely hilarious, amazing slapstick gags. I absolutely loved it. Shockingly to me, I never watched the last season. To my knowledge, most people didn't, because like the first 3 seasons are so solid, and it has a really good like ending in the 3rd season where you don't need to come back for another season because like one of the characters like leaves the show basically. He gets a promotion. They're like, cool, and he was like the central character. Like he's not Andy Tribeca, but he's our surrogate character, comes into this world, sees this weird shit, and also just exists in it. And it's wonderful. And I have very fond memories of that show, and I just haven't been able to watch it since because it's always been on a streaming service and no physical release apart from the first season. It's really annoying. We have Evil. Evil is amazing. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen. It's from it's from Michelle and something Patrick King. The people who did The Good Wife, the people who did, to my knowledge, Sex and the City. And just like that, they have range. They've actually got a new show as well, which is a spin-off from The Good Wife with one of the characters from that, which is meant to be a comedy police procedural. Either way, Evil is fantastic. Evil is X-Files meets religion, I guess. It's a religious version of the X-Files. Instead of, are aliens real? Are we going to have aliens? Is God real, and are angels and demons a thing? But this show commits to the bit. They're real. These angels and demons are real, and they're fucking great. The makeup effects are insanely good. But the show also has this thing where, because I only discovered that my brother was watching the show during the last season, because you had to fucking stream it. And it went from like one streaming network to a different streaming network. You can still watch some of it on Stan, but most of it is now either half on Netflix and half on Paramount Plus, or just all on Paramount. I'm like, what the fuck? Release it on Blu-ray, it's finished. They had 4 seasons. You're done. You finished the show. Release it on physical, for the love of God. The fact that they don't is ridiculous, because I'm pretty sure they shot it in 4K as well. A Series of Unfortunate Events, that's another one on Netflix. They shot that shit in 4K. That should be released on 4K. What the fuck? The fact that hasn't been. But Evil's fantastic. That, again, like I was saying, my brother was watching it, and he was so annoyed because they would never resolve most of the plot threads. And I'm like, yeah, that's the bit. Like, you watch all this stuff, you go through this whole journey each episode, and they, like, most of the time just shrug it off. Like, they go for the most, like, traumatizing shit, and then the next episode, they're just like, yeah, let's just pretend that never happened and move on, because case is closed, time to move on to another one. It's wonderful. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which with both dubs, English and Japanese, also a Netflix show, only had 1 season, should have a physical media release. Scavenger's Reign only had 1 season before it was cancelled. I mean, Scott Pilgrim was basically cancelled as well, but they did 1 season. Obviously, they put a lot of love and passion into it, and it was great, and I absolutely loved it. And I only watched it the day it came out, and I haven't seen it since. And it sucks, because I have Netflix. I have the availability to watch it, but I also don't want to rely on a streaming platform. I'd love to see it in the physical flesh. There are so many streaming shows that I would love to see as a physical version. I mean, I even wrote For All Mankind, mostly because I want a 4K release of it, because the Blu-ray is only for the first season. I think they've done the first 2 seasons on Blu-ray. It took them years to finally bring them out on Blu-ray. And a really cheap, weird brand in the UK, like that I've never fucking heard of. It needs a proper release. It needs a 4K release. It's shot beautifully. It looks incredible on 4K. The one benefit is Apple TV has one of the best 4K platforms, and it looks absolutely insane. But that stuff on a physical disc, oh my god. Like, I got a friend who bought the 4K of Andor, and he even said that the comparison between the Disney Plus 4K streaming and the 4K disc was night and day. It's so much better on a physical disc, because it is. You don't have streaming compression. 4K shows deserve 4K discs. I don't understand why they're not presented like that. And most films are filmed with the intention of HDR grading now. That's why they look so fucking dark. Because it's all like, oh, it's because we're going to have a HDR tick on the 4K and in the streaming services, and you're going to see all the dynamic range. I'm like, bitch, just light the fuck out of your shows. Oh my god, I miss film because film was hard to light for. Just light it good. Even shitty, old, low-budget, crappy films from the fucking 80s still look great because even if they're poorly lit, you can still fucking see what's happening. From Caitlin, what are some unforgivable letterboxd hate crimes? Don't get me started. I can't out that one person. I can't do it, because if he sees this video, he's going to get angry at me. Probably not, but I don't know. I don't want to get blocked anytime soon on Facebook. Realistically, we're going to look at people who hate long movies and then watch a long movie and then give it a middling review with a one-line joke about it being long, and then it gets like a gajillion likes. I fucking hate that. I hate when movies that are really great films that you can contribute a whole essay of knowledge to, or at least make a funny gag out of your review, and this one person with a shitty one-liner gets 10,000 likes and you have to see at the top of everything. Like, I know you can block people on Letterboxd. I really should block Carsten Runquist. I really should block him. Oh my god. But yeah, it's just sometimes I just don't. Sometimes the review is highly liked because the person is popular on outside platforms rather than them actually having a good opinion or a good take, you know? Like, I don't need some lame-ass take filling up my review feed. I would like an actual good perspective on, is this actually a decent film or not? Is this a good film? Is this a bad film? From this person's personal take. Because it is subjective in the end. But a silly one-liner isn't subjective. From Mike Hager, 99. Do you have any titles / special editions that you wouldn't part with no matter how much someone offered? This one's tricky because the thing is, so many times when my brother has friends come over, they will look at the shelf and be like, wow, how much, I wonder how much you could get for all this. Like, that's so many times has that been like the first question. And to some capacity, unless there was like a really unique special, I mean, it has to be special edition, that's part of your question. There's a lot of titles I wouldn't part with, I think, just in general, from like my favorite films to whatever, complete rewatchabilities, you know, there were so many films in that regard. I've written down 3, but it's kind of a generic idea. We have the Suspiria Steelbook. I'm going to include a photo because I can't be bothered getting it down from the shelf because it's in a very hard to reach place. For a very particular reason. It's uber expensive. This is the Synapse release, 4K Steelbook, just a standard 4K Blu-ray disc with a 4K transfer, before they did their UHD comparison. And this is a film where I have like 3 different copies of it anyway, where I had bought their original Blu-ray, then I bought the Steelbook, then I bought their UHD. And I adore the Steelbook. It's one of the few Steelbooks I think as a permanent feature I would keep, or I would just let it go for a very high margin. It's not in pristine condition because it's not in a shrink wrap anymore, because I'm not a moron, I take stuff out of my shrink wrap. Man, that should have been in my controversial takes. People should take Steelbooks out of the shrink wrap. Movies are meant to be watched. Media is meant to be enjoyed. I don't understand it. But that's my like most prized Steelbook. I had to let go of a lot of Steelbooks this year because I just realized I just don't need them, especially for films I had. But most of the ones I have in terms of Steelbook releases is because it's the only version of the film I have, or it just happened to be one that I've had for a couple of years now and I haven't bothered to get rid of it. But this is a film that I have, 2 other copies of. I have the soundtrack separately. I don't need this release anymore, but at least for now, it's not one I feel like I could part with. Like, emotionally, when it comes to physical media, there's not much to it. Like, unless I absolutely adore the film or it's really hard to get released, because there are a lot that I have that are immensely out of print. Come back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, for example, from, I think it was Eureka. It's meant to be right next to me. Where is it? Yeah, from Eureka. Uber expensive, very hard to find. I found it for $80, which is what I bought it for. And it's one of those that goes within this, my next option. This is actually the film here. Wow, look, I've actually got a physical version of it. This is one of those films that Lee contributed a commentary for, which is basically like the next one I would go for of what special editions, and some of these are just general releases, but even that is like a limited edition release. There's a bunch of them, like the Cujo one from Eureka. There's a lot of Kinos. So many releases that Lee worked on that, because I spent so long after his death finding every single one of them that I didn't have, and a lot of them were very expensive. Some of them I got for great prices, so it all varied. That's one of those things where I wouldn't get rid of them, I wouldn't sell them, because that has a lot more of an emotional weight to it. And there are so many. There's over 100 releases, over 150 different films that I have. Some of them I've had to buy separate, like, multiple copies of the same film, just to have them. Like, Cujo, for example, I've got the two different releases, the Eureka one and the 4K from Kino. There was Squirm as well. I've bought two different releases. One was the old Arrow Blu-ray, one is the Kino Lorber release, both of which Lee contributed to. So there's a lot of things, like a lot of films like that, where I'm just going to have separate, like, constant versions of a film that I won't need only because I only have it for one or two special features. And some of the films are absolute trash. Like one of them I didn't like, which was Shark with... it's this one here, Shark with Burt Reynolds. The Signal 1 release, Lee did a video essay for, and I watched the film recently. Didn't like it. Didn't like the film at all. But I only have it for his video essay, and it's worth it for just that reason. So that one's much more of a broader thing, but it will be an ongoing thing of, like, I'll have to make sure all of those Blu-rays are in the best nick. And, like, say if I go to another movie market and I'm selling Blu-rays, I'm going to have to make sure that none of them are duplicates. Like, I know I had Antichrist, which had Lee's commentary on it, but I also got Antichrist from Imprint, which had the same commentary ported over from Kino, so I was able to sell off my Kino version, who my friend Terrence actually bought that, and ironically, like, the next Cinemaniac session, he won Antichrist in the raffle, so he had to give Antichrist to another friend, which was amusing. But again, it's all nice that we all have this piece of film history that is a wonderful film that Lee also contributed to. Sally as well, she's on that commentary. Another limited edition one would be, I'd say, my Evil Dead Book of the Dead edition from the first film, this one up here, which is all the way over there. That one I really love. Like, I've luckily been able to keep it in really good nick all these years. Like, I bought it secondhand with a damaged plastic out of case. But the latex on the book hasn't degraded. Like, it lives basically underneath a heater, and it's never, like, suffered. The DVD works fine. I have it because of the DVD that comes with the original version of the film. Unfortunately, in widescreen, not in 4:3, or like not in its open matte format that it should have been in. But it comes with that commentary track, the original commentary track with the original untouched version of the film. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure it's widescreen. That might have just been from the Blu-ray onwards, but either way, it comes with the original audio commentary track, which is, like, impossible to get outside of that DVD release. And I've got several releases of The Evil Dead on Blu-ray and 4K, so... yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, there are some other ones, like the Criterion Godzilla set, like the Showa era one, mostly because I adore the Godzilla sets, the Godzilla films, and it's technically a special edition because it's a Criterion and it's such a big, gargantuan book set. That one's really great because they're all just I love those films. If I take a quick look, There are some of my second sight releases as well, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've got the limited edition box set that they released a couple of years ago. Their Dawn of the Dead one, which is actually right there. I don't know if you could see it. But that's obviously where my big special edition sets are and everything. Some of them are up the very top, but that Texas Chainsaw and Dawn of the Dead, I mean, I love those films. I love their releases as well. And I even have two different releases for Dawn of the Dead. I have the big box set, which is actually a Blu-ray version, but which comes with the big booklet and everything. But I also have the 4K version, which is the standard 4K, the slimmer one. Not in a standard case, it's still a fold-out set, but I bought it so I could get the UHD discs. And they're both open. Like, I can read the book whenever, I can watch either version. I had just bought the Blu-ray one first because I wanted that, and it was cheaper. And then I ended up, like, a year later buying the UHD because I'm like, I want the UHD as well. But that's Dawn of the Dead. Texas Chainsaw has, like, Lee's essay as well, so that's, like, a part of the Lee thing. But that is such a sought-after set. It's weird to think about, because there are some that I just have just casual standard versions of that are so out of print, and I don't even know that they're out of print. Like, the amount of memory it takes up to remember that so many of these films are out of print, it's kind of jarring in a way. So that's why there's a lot of films that I'll look at and just watch it casually and not kind of remember the fact that this is like a really rare version. Like, I've got that one Robert De Niro film, Ronin, where I've got the Arrow Video version that is incorrectly labeled. Like, it has like the wrong date on the slipcover, and apparently it's worth quite a bit because it's incorrectly labeled. And I haven't sought out any new 4K or any alternate version. I know there's a 4K in the US. I think Arrow had done a 4K UHD as well. I can't remember if they had or not, but I know that it was readily available, that I could get a different version and I could try to sell off this more, this particular version that happens to have an incorrect date on it. But I'm like, I just kind of like that it has an incorrect date, because I just want it. Why not? Also, my DVD of Love Serenade, it's not a boutique release. It's a cheap, pink-cased DVD that's signed by Miranda Otto that features... It's the only physical version of the film that has the director commentary. Like, that's just for that special feature. That's my favorite Australian film, and I absolutely love it. And I have a Blu-ray release, and it's a great Blu-ray release, but it doesn't have that audio commentary. So, there's just stuff like that. I do forget to mention this one. Twin Peaks from Z to A. Because this is a limited edition, special edition set. One of, 10,000 units? 25,000 units. Of course I should know that. 25 years between the seasons. And this is the whole big box set 4K disc. They only recently did a actual physical version that obviously comes with everything, but without the special knickknacks, in a really cheap, big, gigantic case, which is absolutely ridiculous. But that is one where I pre-ordered it from JB Hi-Fi, got it in. I even got a slight refund on it because it happened to come out the same week as a sale, which is great. Rarely does that ever actually work out. But that one goes for a lot of money, and I adore the show, and I try to keep that in its most pristine possible condition. And I have a couple different releases of Twin Peaks, from the Criterion of Fire Walk With Me to the original, the entire mystery set from the UK, which even came with Fire Walk With Me, the missing pieces, and the original first two seasons. I don't have a separate version of... Actually, I do. I have a separate version of The Return as well. I bought that from the UK well before the big box set came out. And so there's no real reason to have the big box set, except for the fact that I love the show, and of course I'm going to keep the big box set. And it comes with the 4K of the pilot and the international pilot and part 8. And I don't want to have to spend more money to get those separately, which you can't do. I'd have to buy the big, gigantic set that's on Amazon now that looks like shit. So, yeah. That's probably my biggest one, that now that I think about it, I would never sell that for sure. But yeah, so there's always something, but for the most part, I just like having these films and TV shows readily available, and I don't want to have to partake with them, like to give them to someone else, unless I really, really want to. Like, I will gladly give away films to friends and TV shows to friends and family and whatever, but most of it's just for the factor that, I just don't need it anymore. And so in the end, it always comes down to that aspect when it comes to physical media, that there is so much here that I just love that I have, and that's why I've collected so much over the past couple of years, because the accessibility of the films is what I consider to be the most prized element to it. It's not just to brag about, I have so many movies and I have so many whatever. It's like, no, I just have so much access. I don't have to stress about streaming services and licensing rights and all this shit and all that shit. I have it here at my fingertips and it's readily available for me to own. And that's my preference, It's realistically, all of it is realistically a special edition because it's all special. But if it's all special, then none of it is. Oh my god. But the antithesis is streaming, so it's special because it's in contrast to streaming. So yeah. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for 2,500 subscribers. Yeah. I guess let's just keep chugging on, and I'll see you kids next time. Adios.